Chapter 15. In all thy ways. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall bring it to pass. When you begin to acknowledge him in all thy ways, no matter what the appearances are, you will see the instant and perfect action of him and the embodiment of such an acknowledgement. The acknowledgement of the presence and the resting from appearances will satisfy the hunger of 5,000 beliefs in any desert. Appearances may be entirely to the contrary, just as they were in the miracle of the loaves and fishes. But when Jesus raised his eyes to heaven and gave thanks, he acknowledged the presence, which immediately brought it to pass. As you move further into the idea of acknowledging him, you will be surprised how the borders of your tent are enlarged. You will begin to acknowledge him in the most adverse situation or condition, and presently you will extend this acknowledgement until you find him in hell. This acknowledgement is not the mere repetition of words, not the repeating of an affirmation, but the recognition of the presence everywhere. Gradually, you will begin to see the results of this acknowledgement. It is always in the nature of thanks for something received. It has the spirit of the finished thing. It is in no way speculative or problematical. When you come to the point of acknowledging him in all your ways, you will see how utterly impossible it is for you to assist in bringing it to pass. My Father worketh hitherto, and I work. After you have acknowledged the presence, you will receive full and definite instructions as to your part in bringing it to pass. Heaven and earth are full of thee. The unseen is filled with God, and it is only waiting the acknowledgement to come forth. The manifestation which takes place from this acknowledgement is as steam turning to ice. Even in hell of beliefs, if you will but acknowledge him, he shall bring it to pass and change the burning, futile thoughts into heavenly peace and quiet. The peace which passeth all understanding often results from the acknowledgement of the presence in the midst of the evil which has seemed so real and terrible. Gradually, man is beginning to see the difference between the presence and the intermittent demonstrations of power. It is true that a parrot could be taught to recite the rules of a difficult problem, yet it could not solve a problem. A child may memorize the working of a single problem, yet if the next problem deviates from the straight and narrow way of his memory but a fraction, he is lost, bewildered, and unable to get the answer. When you seek me after the loaves and fishes, you cannot find me for you have mistaken appearances for realities and have failed to comprehend the principle. When you call upon the principle, when you recognize the presence, then you are ready to make the acknowledgement of Him in the midst of the evil appearance, which is called problem. No sooner is this done than the problem is swallowed up in the appearances of the fulfilled acknowledgement. Read Romans 8:38 and 39. Nothing can or will separate you from this presence but your own conscious thinking, your failure to acknowledge Him. Love is the fulfilling of the law, and this love is something from which you cannot possibly be separated. Prayer takes on a new meaning. It has long since left the beseeching, begging states of consciousness and attained the glorious radiance of acknowledgement. In all thy ways, in every way, thy going out and thy coming in the ways of business and in the ways of leisure, in all thy ways. Suddenly a new glory hovers over the whole of creation. Heaven and earth are full of thee, and the fulfilling of the law takes place through love and not through the ugly trials and experiences of the conscious thinking. In all thy ways, no way is too small to acknowledge Him. It becomes a joy and a glory to feel this presence in everything. The dread of appearances goes. It is replaced by the magnificent acknowledgement of the presence. To enter a place filled with testimony of evil is to bring such a consciousness to bear upon it that many will instantly receive their light. Remember that Jesus knew, I can of myself do nothing. And this gives you a wonderful opportunity to start at the same place. That is, I can do all things through Christ Jesus. As you sit in the place of quiet and realize that no measurement of the conscious thinking can separate you from the love of God, and that this very love is the fulfilling of the law here and now, you can see why the command is given. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall bring it to pass. It's the end of chapter